Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a lovely Wednesday here from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We have been traveling the world last week and a half, and it's going to be a wild podcast. Wait, video, podcast. Which is it?
Same thing.
It's the same thing now. We're if you're here live, it's going to be wild for you in particular. And if you're listening back on the podcast, then I guess you'll get to enjoy the live nature of the calamity. And we say that because Zach and I got back from New Zealand on Monday.
Late Monday.
After
back earlier than we were.
A 16-hour flight from New Zealand to Dallas, which...
Let me tell you.
That is a long... It sounded... I'm going to be honest. It sounded more peaceful when I heard it the first time. Experiencing it was not as... It wasn't as chill as I thought. About hour 8 to 10, it does become fairly uncomfortable. And I don't think there's nothing you do, right? You've just been sitting there for so long.
We continued to joke about being in business class.
Yeah.
And then the running joke was someone mentioned business class, and then we'd say, we're in business owner class, which means someone's got to pay for this. Yeah, we were in the back of the plane. And it was, they give you, I'm grateful. It's the first time probably I've ever been grateful to be on the short end of my family height-wise, because I feel like if I were a couple inches taller, that experience would have been even worse. But they give you just enough room if you're about 5'11" to just kind of fit in there.
Man, imagining some of your brothers in those planes.
I know, and they have back issues too.
Uh-oh.
And so, like, goodness gracious. Anyways,
they probably can't go.
I do think around hour 8 to 10 is when it hits mentally and physically. Like I was. You caught me at one point doing squats in the back of the plane. It's just like I need
steak and eggs.
This is hurting my body. Anyways, we went to New Zealand, and we also went to Vegas right before that for other reasons, and that's what we'll be getting to in the main topic.
Yeah.
But before we do the main topic, we have the news. Anything you want to tease the main topic?
Sure. Another Juan said, guys, I've been asking for weeks now. Do you still have the Sorcery bundle that you had available for beginners/interested people in the game? It's a little starter bundle you guys put together. I will answer this in 2 ways. I will say, no, we do not have that bundle. But I will say secondarily, wait around for, I don't know, a few weeks, many weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And we will have another bundle potentially.
There may be something coming.
So, like, basically, if you're like, I want to start playing Sorcery, and nothing out there right now is something that I want to buy, and it's kind of too much, or I don't know what to do, just wait a little bit, and we may well solve that problem for you soon. And it's worth waiting for. But also, I mean, you can also get the bundle in the future and just buy some booster boxes now, open some packs.
Here's what I would do
Hey, kid.
If I had the itch and I didn't want to wait on this very teased bundle that Steven just talked about.
Highly teased.
Yeah, this is the tease cast. Anyways,
I guess it's slightly different.
I know. I knew you were going to go there. We've had a wild few weeks. Anyways, if you really have the itch and you want to check out Sorcery, I would recommend just buy a box of beta.
Okay.
You can that's great sealed. A lot of fundamentals of the game there. You can open some packs, have a good time, and I don't think you'll feel bad about that later.
Great.
Based on what I know.
Good to know.
Anything else you want to tease?
Well, also another one saying, you guys sound good today. Nothing too loud, and it's clear. So
you know what I think the difference
Jonathan
here?
Out.
John Kaufman in. Yes.
Let's go. He's an audio wizard. He's been working on all the audio for the videos. So he's got the ear now.
He's ready. Yeah, he also... Yeah. I feel like Jonathan has a tendency to tinker.
You really?
Yeah. He just, he tinkers with things. So
he is. Yeah, he's a tinker.
I think Kaufman just set it and forget it. And here we are in, I guess, the best audio of the year.
I think he knows what it's like whenever you import the audio file and it's bricked out to the top of the... top of the thing. He's like, that ain't happening today.
Recursion Cafe is kind of pretty new to Fab. What are your recommended classes, heroes? So we will get into that a little bit.
Preferred classes. Our preferred classes.
Runeblade. Easy.
Yeah.
The one true class.
But like old school Runeblade, right? Back when it was hard. Harder.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. But never chain.
Yeah, not chain.
It's just Viscerai, though.
It's okay. My preferred class is Viscerai. Yeah.
Well, you played Briar too, so that's fair.
That's fair.
And I like Warrior. I was into Dawnblade there for a while with the main character. What's her name? Dorinthia. And then moved on pretty quickly to Azalea playing Ranger in the early days. That was truly the hard days. and then bounced out of Azalea into Bolton at some point. I really enjoyed the Bolton playstyle. I found I did enjoy the Azalea playstyle, but I also felt like it just wasn't going anywhere, which was true for a long time until she got the laces.
They have similar. They have some similarities.
Problems.
Well, she just has, especially early on, she had more genuine problems. Like, this hand doesn't do. I can't block or attack well. I'm just looking at a pile of cards. That is miserable. Versus Bolton, I feel like he at least blocks well all the time.
He does. He can block.
Yeah, and
that's right.
He somehow turns 3s to 3.5s.
This is a warrior problem though. It's like sometimes you don't attack, and I have a full hand of 5 cards that can do 2. I can play 2 of them. And that, of course, is how you lose the game of Flesh and Blood.
Yeah. So, anywho. Shall we do the news?
Shall we do the news? Run it, Charlie.
All right. In no particular order. And we didn't have a podcast last week because we were gone. So we've had this happen recently, too, where you just have a pile up of news. Because you miss a week. You got to clear the decks.
We got enough going on now. The partners are cooking.
All right. First of all, I want to mention Here Be Monsters. From our friends Carson and Phil. They completed their crowdfunding campaign, had an amazing last day or two of that campaign. And if you're unfamiliar, definitely check that game out. We still have the demo decks available for free on the website that you can get, pay shipping, and try the game out. And just a really cool project. I think they're approaching it as trying to create a game that is super accessible, especially if it's your first card game. And I'm really excited about that one. It gives me the early Pokemon feels.
It's that, and it is just like really, truly innovative. A word that's thrown around to the point of absolute meaninglessness, but you can't trace it from any of the big 3. That's something I've been doing recently. Have you seen that in like the Discord and stuff?
Yeah, it's like this comes from the Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's very clear. There's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Branch of idea of what a card game is. There's a Pokemon idea.
Yeah.
The Pokemon one isn't really fair because Pokemon is like, it's like a black hole when compared to like the planets of the universe. It's so tremendously different and energetic and massive and unknowable that you can't even really gather a lot of comparisons from it.
Talking about Pokemon?
Yeah. It's just like, there's Pokemon in there. There's literally the rest of the world. And then within the rest of the world, there's also other games.
I see. Yeah.
Pokemon is a freaking world phenomenon. It's people lose their minds like me, which I'll talk about. And then there's also the magic, of course. So the magic in Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost, you might argue, the Western and Eastern split of card game design. And even when you see the white text on the card, and there's a lot of it, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! That's just...
There's your sign.
It's classic. And I was thinking, even because we looked at that Marvel Rush TCG, incredibly inspired, but it appears that I think now that this is a translation thing. It's like, obviously, a lot of the Japanese games or Chinese games at this point, like the Riftbound, they're having to get translated into English. And I think that just makes a lot of text, whereas it might not be the case. And I don't know if that maybe is happening vice versa. I'm speaking out of my depth. But I kind of had that revelation when I was looking at those cards. I was like, why are there like 1 million? And it's like, oh, I guess I could see why one character might be 7 words, you know?
Yeah, languages. And they're oftentimes in languages and translations, like, you don't have a word for this.
Yeah.
So it's a sentence because you don't have a singular word that communicates whatever the concept is. So
it's true. But I can't read them, so I can't play it.
Yeah, so, you know.
J-Dog, yes, we're chatting about Sorcery today. We went and visited Erik's Curiosa in New Zealand, in fact, and so we'll be talking about that trip.
For sure. Next up on the news circuit, we have Hubworld Aidalon, which, man, every day I get a little more excited about this one. But they had their... What are you going to say?
We've got a video coming out soon.
We do indeed.
Did you beat me in that one?
I don't remember.
I guess it depends on which one they took to the editing booth.
So we do have a Hubworld Table Time episode.
I think you did beat me.
Which is more what we envisioned when we created the format than all the videos we posted so far. Because we've done 2 for Trailblazer, Trailblazer, and we did 2 for Here Be Monsters.
Yeah.
All of those featured other people, either instead of us or alongside us.
Yeah. So notably worse.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, less charming at least. And when we created the idea of Table Time, it was Steven and I watching back our gameplay in the same way that you might talk about a game after a tournament at the bar or something, and you're reminiscing, except for you can actually show the video. And then immediately it was like, well, what if other people played and we had guests in the commentary with us? which worked. I think we tested the limits of that format in a cool way. And that'll come back to why we were traveling the world, because we're, again, continuing to test it. But on Hubworld specifically, which is the topic of the news right now, we will be posting a video probably in August. And we're like at the end of July.
It's coming up.
Which is exciting.
I'm trying so hard to get through the summer, the Oklahoma summer. So my AC went out in the truck, right? And it's like $2,000 to fix it, and I just am unwilling to do that.
You just got to make it to fall.
Yeah. So I drove to work this morning, Zach, with the windows down and my shirt off.
I'm gonna camp out in the parking lot tomorrow just to witness. I gotta get this on film. This is gold. I've been talking to Lindsay about the social strategy. This is gold social media content.
Yeah,
like dude. Rolling up to work like Steven.
Just like hitting the car like Lebowski, man.
Anyways, Hubworld posted their July crowdfunding update. And notable things here. August 1st is when the pledge manager closes. So if you pledge, you want to change it, or you want a late pledge, etc. That's when that's going to happen. And then there may be somewhere else you can pre-order after that point. But I will say there's a distinct difference.
Can we announce that yet?
No one's going to stop me.
Right?
Hold on. Yep, we're good. Anyways, we will be launching pre-orders for that relatively soon.
We said that in the past, haven't we? I don't know. There's a lot of
doesn't matter. Anyways,
floating around.
We're going to launch that soon. But notably, pre-orders are different than back in the campaign. Price difference, also timeline difference.
Yeah.
So projection on the fulfillment, you can find that in the campaign update. And then the release, that's a whole separate situation. That's what I will not say anything about. And we will go from there. But all that to say, if you want it sooner than later, and you want to give the amazing team over at Earthborn as much money as possible, go over to the pledge manager and give them the resources they need to make this great.
Here's a question from Recursion Cafe related to Hubworld Eidalon. How does it compare to NSG Netrunner? I think I'll start. I've been thinking about this. Yeah, I just landed the question on you. I've been looking at it for a little while. Obviously, so they have the same lineage. They have the same roots, right?
In the same way you said Marvel Rush is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Rooted thing.
So Garfield is just spinning out in the early 90s, doing all sorts of great stuff. And Netrunner is one of the games that he designed. This was just Netrunner, not Android Netrunner. And so that game system was very much the Netrunner that you're seeing today, but that has been refined and cleaned up along the way. So it went from Netrunner, which was like you could have any number of cards in your deck. There was no card limit. So you could have like 20, Scorched Earths or whatever. The tagging tracing mechanic was all very strange, a lot different. The Psi game was much more prevalent, and there was no factions, and there was no runners and corporation cards. So that was the original Netrunner, and then Android Netrunner took that, and the FFG folks during their great golden era, I would say, Lucas and co. took that game system, refined it, and added factions, put it in the Android setting, did a lot of cleanup on the rules, and I think dramatically improved the system while keeping the soul of it very much intact. And that whole idea is that you have the tension is it's an economic warfare game, basically, where you as the corporation are trying to defend against a runner who's trying to attack your servers and find agendas. It's a hide and seek game. It's also a game of risk management. So basically, what are the odds that the runner going down this server is going to find something important to them? And is it worth paying money to prevent that based on the odds in front of me? So a lot of shuffling together and things like that. And then we have NSG Netrunner, which is a continuation of that. And I think it's more of a refinement by the players rather than like a design team as in FFG. So a lot of mechanics, I think, got a little bit tighter on the balance side, a little bit less explosive stuff in favor of more skill-focused design. And I haven't played it in a while, but I assume that is still the case. But it's basically all the same game. Hubworld is an offshoot of that style of game. But it's kind of going in a further new direction. It's not as close as Netrunner to Android Netrunner or Android Netrunner to NSG Netrunner. But it is a branch off of Android Netrunner, I would say. You have factions, you have runners, effectively, and they're bringing in a lot of innovations and changes to the system itself that makes the game fundamentally play differently. So they have the grid, which means you only have 3 columns with which to play. Those are the 3 columns that you can run down to find agendas, in quotation marks, and also that you have to defend with ice in quotation marks. But at the same time, there's a whole lot different. There is the movement of things. There's the agents mechanic. There's the idea that the agents that you score are primarily also very strong on the board and often get utilized and revealed. There's the way that credits and heat work. There's a lot of changes to the mechanical outlay of that game. But as far as how does it compare, it's like those two games are probably the closest two games of any other game that you can mention, right? It's like,
Sure.
what does NSG Netrunner compare to Magic? It's like a million miles away. Very close, but I think a great twist. And I swear it's some of the best. It may be the best art. I mean, the world building and the art and the theme of that game is just astounding. Every time I see a new card from the game, it's just such beautiful art.
The way it looks and feels.
Mm-hmm.
I think my summarized answer to the hypothetical question here, or the question at large, is I'll use Magic as a comparable. In Magic, you play dudes to kill your opponent.
Yeah.
That's that kind of game.
They call them creature battlers in the non-colloquial.
And in Netrunner, you are playing kind of hide and seek or treasure hunting in your opponent's deck. And so it definitely feels more like Netrunner in that way. However, funnily enough, the tabletop video we're talking about really shows this. And I think we mentioned it a lot in the commentary, where because that was the first time we had full prototype collections and we built decks and we played, like, kind of constructed against each other, even though I built your deck.
You did.
And then we did commentary over it. But for how similar it is, in air quotes, to Netrunner, how different it actually is. And I think it's actually all rooted in this one fact. In Netrunner, someone's a corp and someone's a runner. In Hubworld, you are both hiding and seeking at the same time.
Yep.
And beyond, I think they made a lot of tightening and innovations in terms of grid limits and card limits and shard limits versus credits, and like how complex the board state can get, and the art and the design and the feel, etc. And there's all these changes, but most fundamentally is that you are both sides at the same time.
Absolutely correct.
Which inherently changes the entire dynamic.
Great distillation. Perfect. That's exactly the right answer.
Hey,
I will say I think the downside of, not necessarily the downside, but if you're doing an honest comparison, I do think that Netrunner mechanically matches the theme a little bit better than it does in Hubworld. So Hubworld obviously comes out of this idea that we want to make a Netrunner style game because the game system is absolutely phenomenal. And here's the world that we want to put it in, and it definitely works. But when you think about that system originally being built for a sci-fi hacking universe, it does. I don't know that there's a more one-to-one pairing of game mechanics and game theme than original Netrunner, where it's like, this is what you're doing, and yes, it feels exactly like you're a hacker or a megacorp trying to, like, win this game.
I mean, it does capture that. I will say, when you're like sneaking past a parade to get to the noodle bar to find an agent, like it does work.
Oh, it's super cool.
Yeah, it's there. I get what you're saying though, where it's like there's a feeling there, and Netrunner is a magical thing. And then as far as it literally comparing to NSG is just a carryover of Netrunner.
Yeah,
and
which we're not super familiar with.
Yeah, and not familiar enough with to really speak to. And also, it's slightly like, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe this is a future episode, but once something is not official, it always feels weird for me.
Yeah, it does. It feels a little different.
I love the fact that people are so passionate about a game. And you see this with like the continuation committees for Star Wars CCG and Star Wars
CCG's
LCD
been going
TCG
forever.
and all these games. I love that, and I'm not opposed to it. But it is that's a really weird one, and it makes sense for Netrunner actually, where you have like this communal organization that rises up. It's kind of like, I don't know,
a little punk rock. Right?
Yeah, it is punk rock, and it's like there's not really a face of it. And for me, like, we just visited. I went to Vegas and visited with James. We went to New Zealand to visit with Erik Curiosa. Like, you're there with the people making the thing, and it's not just a kind of like, the NSG feels like this group I can't wrap my hands around or understand fully, and I don't even know if they understand fully, and that's kind of part of the charm. But yeah, I haven't dove enough into it to really say. We played a couple times on stream, but it seems like people are loving it.
Yeah, it's just weird. It is weird. It's kind of a weird thing. I wonder why that is.
Yeah.
But I feel that way about everything, really. It's like, I guess I kind of like the official, like somebody has this vision and they like are willing to go all in to like make this thing happen. Like Lucas, is like
Sure.
clearly was like taking this thing and was like, and it's true. Maybe that's what to your point is like, this is a person who's like deeply invested in this thing. And then I am thinking and rooting for the person as much as I am the game and me playing it.
Yeah.
And once you lose that kind of official nature of like the kind of where it all started and the spark and the people who are willing to like go out on the line and do it, then the continuation is kind of an interesting transition for sure. Like I don't even do this in video games when I don't like fan created content in video games either.
Well,
Why is that, John? You probably like fan created content, don't you?
There's some really good stuff. Like so many video games that exist now because of Doom mod.
And you know what? I play custom maps on Battle.net all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't.
But that's it. Would be one thing if a custom map for an active game or a game made by someone is different than this is the way we're engaging with it.
Yeah.
Like we had put out a fan expansion, and this is the only way to play it. And this is my best comparable to this is when a band will like replace their lead singer. And it's not that I'm unwilling to go to the show, but
fascinating.
Like once Kiss replaced their lead singer with Adam Lambert or something, I think it was Kiss literally. And
that's
Adam
a
Lambert,
real thing.
Yeah. Adam Lambert was a contestant on Queen. Sorry. First of all, as a kid we used to watch American Idol, and Adam Lambert was amazing.
Yeah,
he's got one of the craziest voices on earth, easily. But also, love Queen as a band. And then they were coming through. Someone I knew was like, "You want to go to this thing?" It's like, not really.
Yeah. I feel that way.
Feel the same.
I feel that way.
Yeah. Anyways, more on that later.
Maybe we're attached to the lead singer.
Future topic. Other thing that was cool in this update was they've actually upgraded. They put we a year and a half ago launched preview decks right before the Hubworld crowdfunding campaign, and those did amazingly well. People could try the game, and then at some point during the campaign, people were asking if they could have the option to get this again. And so they put in the campaign, I think it was $20 to buy the preview deck if you just wanted to buy the preview deck. And they've now announced they're upgrading that. They're changing the preview deck to be a fully legal constructed deck that you can buy for $20 if you just want to buy that and try the thing.
Yeah. Anyways, why is this so hard? Why is this always the?
And it looks great. Look, this is the box for it. It's got the little logos down here for the different color factions.
Wait, they just did that like as a because they wanted to?
They were like, hey, the thing that we said was a preview deck is actually going to come as a constructed deck, and we've evolved this product.
They did that, and they also did it where they improved what did they improve recently? Was it the
box? The inserts with like the deck box with the precon for the color that comes on it? Yeah,
they did doing all sorts of this stuff.
But that's like a classic. And it's unasked for, unnecessary. But when you actually get into we're going to produce this and make it, there's 1,000 little opportunities to make something great that are beyond just like the cards and even the art. Though they changed the template in and the color in and stuff. But I'm not surprised to see these like little tweaks coming through towards the end of this process.
It's crazy to me to be a part of a Kickstarter that like run by like obviously legitimate gaming professionals. But like where everything that you hear about is just good news about how they're improving the product and everything's better and the templates are better, rather than like how everything is going wrong.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
And
if you think about it,
part of it is, and it was a downside during the campaign where I remember you talked to Navarro / we talked to him on the various things about setting the release date to be Q1 2027 in the campaign, which at the time people were like, "That's so far from now," and I get it. Back in a campaign that's not going to deliver for 18 months or 24 months. But actually what happens 90% of the time, people will promise sooner and just fail.
Yeah.
So you get people to back because they think it's only going to take 9 months, but then it actually takes 18 months. And so, whether or not that's the right call, I think it leads to a better, like it's this tough thing we've talked about a lot where is it better to overpromise and then eventually deliver something great? Or is it better to just accurately promise?
Yeah.
Because I think part of why you can do this is because you have a timeline that is this decision. If they had promised March and every idea that comes up, it's like, well, if we do this, it's going to take an extra month. And we're already past. It's like you feel that pressure as compared to we're fine.
Yeah.
Like we still have the time to get this done.
Yeah. And like the other approach is like the venture capital approach. Somebody said this in our Discord and it's really been reverberating with me.
Venture capital, where was I?
Well, it's just like that entire culture is about overpromising as much as possible to get as much money as you can with the assumption that if you get enough money, you can deliver on the
Yeah.
overpromise.
We were talking about this on the trip. That's
Yeah.
the Aidalon model.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Promise robots will be here by next year.
Mm-hmm.
Shareholders go crazy. Get enough money, and maybe you can make robots show here next year.
Haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
Or you can make it show up in 5 years, but it would have been 10 years if you hadn't done that thing.
Exactly.
And so, like, chicken egg situation.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think a lot of Kickstarters have to deal with that of like,
Yeah.
we need to get all this backer money so we can do this game, and then we're just going to make it sound amazing and awesome, and then we're like, oh no, we got to delay it.
Yeah.
But they've already got your money, so
so good
joke's
luck.
on you. You did it.
All right, next up we have Alpha Clash. A couple things went on with them. One, a piece of their artwork, Annihilation, which we don't have the capacity to pull this one. We are going to pull some cards up in a second. Got nominated for Artwork of the Year, and it is. Have you seen this card?
Cow,
Did
yeah.
you see it? Yeah,
Mhm.
he is on something else. They were in the top 3, and then the ceremony for this is going to be at Essen.
Cool.
Later this year. So we'll see. How
It'd be
that
cool
goes.
if they won. They'd have a reason to go to Germany.
Yeah, that's right.
I assume they'd let them know, right?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
probably not.
Maybe like an awards thing
Probably
where
not.
like you just have to be there.
What up, Marcus?
Yeah.
Whoa, it has been long. Marcus Brown. What? That's the old
It's-
Monpot connection, right, Marcus?
It's cool seeing names that have been around. For
This is
so
the
long.
Marcus from the Monpot days, I believe, right?
About to find out.
Yeah, or it's just like, no, I was your neighbor last year. It's like, oh shit, sorry.
So of note, and I'll bring this up for a few reasons. One, we're talking about Alpha Clash, and let me know if Marcus responds because we'll get in there. But we're gonna show off our promo for the next set.
Oh, cool.
And Ridge asked when he asked about this before it was getting locked in, and he was like, "Hey, how would you guys feel if your promo was a sketch card?" And it's
Zach
like,
loves sketch cards.
come on. So John, if you could pop that real quick, and this does relate to Gen Con, which we'll see, but I haven't actually even seen this. I just know that it's a sketch card, and it's gonna have. See if it works. Also, is the starting soon still showing for everyone, or is that just us?
Ooh, it could be a layer. Could be a layer this up. Jonathan's back in the game.
Ooh.
Or it could just be for us. I feel like maybe it's always there for us.
Marcus says, been watching since Fabulous Monday.
Oh, nice. Wow, that's old. What is that, pandemic?
That was 6 years ago.
That's 6 years
There
ago.
was a Marcus in Monpok, though.
Oh, yeah. I think it was
What was-
Marcus Brown.
Was it Marcus Brown?
A lot of those guys. It's fine for me. It's fine. It's fine for everybody.
No starting soon for
it's
anyone
just
else.
us. Yeah, good.
Just the preview monitor.
Maybe
which
it's
is
a
good.
reminder that we do need to
So
get started.
while that's happening, so Ridge and Garrett at Gen Con, if you're at Gen Con, definitely stop by and check them out. They have this really cool sketch playmat that they have at Gen Con, which is why I brought up the sketches in Gen Con and all this stuff. How do you feel about not being at Gen Con right now?
I feel
normally
fine.
This would be like we're traveling there today to go early tomorrow to sneak into press hour and film something.
Wow, look at that.
Tempest Vengeance.
Wow.
he started to cover it as I was saying it.
Wow.
So this is the Alt Art exclusive promo you can get for pre-ordering the next set of Alpha Clash on our website. We'll be adding this to the website so you can see it. 1 copy per booster box that is pre-ordered. And thank you to Ridge and Garrett for making this sketch card for us.
That's so cool. You're a big sketch card guy, too.
I love sketch cards.
Yeah. How do I feel about not
Conquer,
being at
ready
Gen Con?
He's got feelings. Let me read this while you're thinking about it. I guess I should be talking while you're thinking about it. Marcus saying, Stephen playing Dory Hatches had a profound effect on my flesh and blood. Lens.
Wow, you like suffering then, huh?
You too are a Ranger player.
Dude, no, it's just like tight math, man. You're trying to get that 3.1 every turn. I love Dory Hatches. In fact,
that was an era.
I would love it if it was anyone but Dory even more, actually. I don't know if Gen Con, if anything, I would just want to go as a person. I think the business value is minimal, but I think the person, I'd like just to go and participate and maybe play in an RPG campaign. And I wouldn't sit in the TCG hall all day. Never again.
That's what we did on our first Gen Con.
Oh,
We
mini
just went
Gen
and played
Cons.
spoils
Mini
tournaments
Gen
the
Cons.
whole
What do you mean the
time.
first? Many of them. Yeah, but I'm not impacted by it. I feel like New Zealand definitely scratched the itch for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be there now, dude. Being a father makes it all way different.
The idea of immediately going back on another trip right now is like
Yeah.
exhausting.
Yeah.
Real quick, John, can you pull up Guardian Angel? So they spoiled the contenders at the Pretenders game at which I was recently at. I just want to show you this art. See how you feel about it. Oh, there you go.
That's the one. Ooh, Guardian Angel.
Because your Marvel guy was what's his name?
Well, Angel,
Angel.
originally, but Archangel, and as I knew him.
Yeah.
So this is a shout to Archangel.
I don't know if that's
or
true.
It is a shout to Angel, surely. I mean, it's the Angel superhero, right? So you gotta have a shout there. Wings look pretty similar.
He's got wings.
What does it do? Try to attack, conquer, +1/+0, and flight. And of course, you gotta have flight. Yeah. What does conquer mean? Do you know?
So
you don't learn the rules until a day before the tournament. So.
Trigger challenge. So real quick, challenge is when this card damages a contender.
Okay.
And anyone can have challenge effects, but this is a contender. So if your contender hits their contender, then challenge effect.
So all your stuff gets +1/+1 if you hit their contender.
Yeah. Conquer is a keyword I have never seen.
Great.
But I'm assuming it's actually the keyword for. There's a victory keyword when you defeat something. So I don't know what conquer means.
Well, imagine if I'm going to guess as to how this hero was designed, is that something triggers to give you +1 in flight, and then you try to hit their contender because you can't be blocked, and then that gives you all your stuff +1/+1. That seems like the play pattern, does it not?
Mm-hmm. Because trigger attack. So trigger attack obviously happens when this card is attacking.
Mm-hmm.
It gets +1 in flight, which would be very good because some the contenders have 1 defense.
Yeah.
So you need 2 to be able to hit them at all, and then if you do hit them, all your stuff gets +1/+1.
2 attack, hard to block, hit them +1/+1, then kill their stuff. You see how it goes.
He kind of swoops in and does.
And what's the low end? When an opposing player diminishes a clash card for the first time each turn, conquer, draw a card. Conquer must be like a discard a card or like put something in your banished pile into the thing or shuffle something back in.
Intuitively, conquer to me feels like when you defeat something, but that's a victory. We already have a word for that.
Conquer. What is that? Maybe
discard in the chat?
Discard one of their cards from the top of their deck. It's like something like that.
Well, diminish is discard a card from the top of a deck. So basically, when they diminish a clash card, which is like your creatures.
I wonder if it's put a discard into the banish or something. Because that'd be annoying. Like they discard a thing and then you banish it, draw a card,
remove it.
Kind of an answer to those heroes.
I'm not sure. They do this where they'll add keywords that you slowly figure out through spoiler season. That's a known convention.
That's fun times.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Flesh and Blood. This first of all, You Serve the Shadow Throne booster box officially revealed as we were traveling.
Yeah.
And this is the return of Viscerai. And we'll talk more about our trip to Vegas in the main topic, but. When we were in Vegas, the number of people that asked me if I'd seen the Viscerai was high, and I have.
You're a known quantity.
Yeah, they know that is my preferred class, as it were. Anyways, those are available for pre-order. I think as a player, if I were still very active, this would be a set for me. It's all a third of its Rune Blade, and it's all Shadow.
I feel like you're probably gonna buy some.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute.
And is it only Shadow?
I think it's literally only Shadow.
Man, you know what? Flesh and Blood needs it. We need to. It's just such a fascinating experiment in insanity, really. Like the idea that like your player base can only buy like some sets is crazy from any other TCG's perspective. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, the combo problem is the siloed classes.
Yeah.
And wanting to make it draft sealable.
Right. Those are two things that are difficult.
They've done the like supplemental sets. Like, what was the most recent one with Wraith in the title? It was
Yeah. Return. No. World Return. White box, gold, filigree.
We have it sitting over there.
It has to be Return, right? We had Welcome to it. So
I don't think it was Return, was it?
All right, hold on. I'll look on the website so we sound at least somewhat reasonable. Can you cut this?
Can we go on live? They're on. I think this is set 20, by the way.
Wow.
They're doubling the 10 set TCG. A long time we talked about during the golden era, like a lot of TCGs lasted 1 or 2 years. The ones that really usually lasted about 10 sets.
Yeah.
And then if they died, that was usually it. But now they're on 20, which is crazy.
Compendium.
There it is. That's why we couldn't think of it.
Compendium.
Never used that word in my life. Word. Anyways, Compendium Wraith. So they have these like supplemental sets that have cards for everybody in them. But they're not draftable for obvious reasons. And I do think that the class system is hugely restrictive for them.
Yeah.
On design, development, production, what sets you're putting out. But you do inherently, if you aren't playing the 3 classes in the set, or you don't like that talent, you're just sort of out. The first time I felt this is, at the time, the only class I did not actually at all 0% care about at all was mech.
Yeah.
Is it called mech?
Yeah.
Uh,
Mechanologist.
Yeah, that's how much I cared. Yeah,
Doesn't care enough to even know
and they
that.
did a whole set, Bright Lights, which was just Mechanologist, and that was the first set of Fab. I literally bought the minimum amount to get a place out of the promo, and then
It wasn't even a great promo, was it? At 0 to 60, I think. I'm glad you did it. Thanks.
You know, how would we survive without my purchases?
Put it back in the coffers. Yeah.
Point of it is, they kind of run into that where like you just have these ebbs and flows, and on the one hand, though, I guess on the other hand, is I picture Magic with all the products they're releasing, and it would probably be nice for a lot of Magic players if they could opt out of half the sets.
Well, I definitely think that it's nice for the players sometimes.
Not good for the business
model.
If
I was designing a business model, though, and like, so this is the problem with no splashing in the silos, like you said, is any set of sorcery is conceivably going to have water cards in it, and those could go into a deck of mine. And so, like, I'm incentivized to at least collect or be interested in or buy singles from every single set that comes out, because all sets have cards for anything, but not so with Flesh and Blood, and many times, like, not so, like, multiple sets in a row. Like, if you're just like a Warrior Bolton player, for instance, there's a lot of sets you buy maybe one card at max, sometimes 0.
Sometimes not.
Which is just, it would be hard on the business strategy and printing side to understand, like, well, how many shadow players do I have versus how many, light players, mechanologist players, ninja players. It's just, it'd be a disaster, I would think.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be really difficult.
Really tough.
And like, even if you were a Runeblade player, like for me back in the day, I wasn't really a Shadow Runeblade player, with Shadow being a talent. And now the new Visrite is Shadow. So how many of your old school Runeblade players are going to actually make a conversion? Or do they even still play?
Yeah.
It would be like, you picture Magic or Alpha Clash, similar system where you have 5 colors and any color can be paired with any color, and you can basically run the whole board. Like, it's hard to imagine a Magic set coming out and you wanting nothing. Actually,
although there are like 20 coming out, so you don't even know what's in there.
Well,
anymore.
That's a different situation.
It'd be like if Sorcery released an all Earth set.
Yeah,
and I'd be like, I don't know. I guess maybe
I'll draft it. Maybe
all Fire set. I'd be like, I don't care.
Yeah,
pass.
And I would make up for that.
Maybe that's the scale. Maybe that you get so hype on one crew that the other one dropping off is made up for by their excitement.
Yeah, and if you're like Magic doing a product every 2 weeks, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's like, let's let people pick and choose. Anyways, all right, next up on the list, we have Warlord. So they posted an article now.
They're cranking, man.
Several weeks ago.
This is the sleeper hit of the summer right here.
It's
like that Espresso song by Serena. Who was that?
Sabrina Carpenter. And please, God, do not sing it. He was singing it the whole trip, and I can't get it out of my head. Anyways, they posted an article a few weeks ago that had a lot in it. So they're at Gen Con this week as well. This is where the first Medusan Lord. Their OP system is awesome. And
it's working.
It is working.
It's actually happening.
Yeah.
And there are people in Discord talking about how to beat the overlords and like designing strategies and stuff. It's like, oh my God, it's actually happening.
Yeah. So if you're at Gen Con, go say hi to Ridge and Garrett and tell them that we sent you. And then go to the Warlord area, give Josh and Woodrow a high five. And man, they need to give them a high five. They kind
of came out the other side of the tunnel, didn't they?
Well, hey, don't get too hasty here, Greg. So anyways, Medusan Lords, this is the kind of culmination of the entire organized play system where you win locally, you play against the organizer, you win that, you get the card, you play regionally, etc. And I think they have it set up where you can speed run at Gen Con. Where like you can do a Overlord challenge, and if you win that, you can do the Dragon Lord challenge, and if you win that, you can do the Medusan Lord challenge, which is cool. I would do that over a tournament.
Yeah.
All day long.
Well, and the thing I love about that so much is like it is such a community focused organized play system. And I think that's why it's been so successful. Is because you're not just like winning the tournament, you're then having an experience with a person who's, typically fairly critical to the community in your local area, and then regional area, and then the game publishers, designers themselves. So it's like you get a ticket to like a VIP chat with these guys, and you also get to play a different game that the community is trying to win together.
Yeah.
So like it really just bring people together. I think that's why the game has lasted so long since it was its early demise, and why this reboot of the system is actually working.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's So cool.
It is so cool. Yeah.
In that article, they also talked about Baraxton, the Guilds Conspires, as set 2. And I thought it was really nice. They started out with just expressing gratitude to everyone that kind of saw them through the dark times. And then a little bit of look ahead at the future. It seems like they're trying to get that set 2 out this year, with their cadence being about 3 sets a year. Moving forward is the goal. And then they also talked about rotation, which I thought was interesting. That was a topic that was at least on the list of things we might talk about today. Which was they're currently planning their sets in kind of 3 set blocks. So big set, 2 supporting sets, do the next one. And then they're planning on having 2 of those kind of blocks legal at any given time. So they are planning on
Okay, so like 6 sets, yeah.
6 sets. And they do have the Ancients format, which is the old school, everything is around. But after 6 sets will start falling into
Is that standard? Is that what standard means in Magic?
I think they call it, what was the name?
Wait, what's modern? Modern, pre-modern, standard, legacy?
Don't you love it?
Old school, commander, pre-modern, legacy?
They call it
Pauper?
let me find it.
Pioneer? What are we doing?
Hold on. Just give me a second.
What are we doing? No, not what are we doing. What are we, like the royal we doing? Tolerating this.
Their standard format is Saga. Yeah, and
yeah. 6 set Saga.
Yeah, and I think it may be like when basically the whole block rotates out. So like you have 3 sets that are all big set, little set, little set. That's a block of 3. You have the second block happening.
Sounds like a children's book.
And then when the third block starts, that big set comes out and the first whole block goes away.
Isn't that how FFG was going to do it?
With Unlimited?
In 17 years after they announced their...
The crazy thing is, when they originally announced their...
Yeah, I think it was like a block of 6 packs, and then like there was a bunch of those, and then when the first pack of the new block started, all 6 of the previous block.
So I think with Unlimited, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, cool.
Which is like 3 sets a year. Basically, year 3 starts, year 1 products go away, and forever and always.
Yeah,
as it goes.
That's a way to do it, huh?
Seems to be working to a certain degree. Anyways, that's the Warlord article. That's the news so far. Again, if you haven't checked out Warlord and you're at Gen Con, go check it out.
Yeah,
we're checking
play it. Go play it. Just play it. Even if you don't care or want to buy it or need any TCG or anything, just play it. It's a fun experience.
And then
first one's free.
Last but not least, I'm going to bunch Arkham, Horror, and Marvel Champions all together.
The Asmodee update
the
section.
Asmodee section of the news. So Marvel Champions Fear No Evil expansion shipped last week. Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. Charges are going to happening in the next couple weeks. Release date for that is August 21st. So as usual, we'll ship that on a timeline to try to get it to you by release if you're a subscriber.
Do you still have a Champions group, or did you guys switch to Earthborn?
The answer to your first question is no. The answer to your second question is no.
Well, that would track, yeah.
Well, you said, do you still have a Champions group, and did you switch?
Well, I thought it was like Ben and Matt and those guys. Yeah.
My Champions crew was Rain, Erik, and Tim, and we actually just pivoted to playing basketball on Mondays.
The unsung data set there. How many of your players are actually now playing basketball?
Yeah. Well, so we were finishing up the X-Men campaign, and it was like springtime, and I've been wanting to play basketball. And when I was driving over to Eric's, I drove past a full court outdoor basketball court in his neighborhood, and we sat down. I was like, "You guys want to start playing basketball? Does anyone here want to start playing basketball?" And Erik and Rain specifically were both like, "Oh my god, I would love to do that!" Like immediately it was just like, "Okay, we're doing this." And on Mondays since then, we've been playing basketball.
He's the last guy I would have expected to be so in on basketball.
Erik?
Yeah, he's a bit of a paradox. That one.
Well, I agree. He's a phenomenal baseball player. Apparently,
he can't have mind powers and body powers.
I know
that's
fair.
Not fair.
Yeah,
he's like the Superman of. It's like, come on, he doesn't even have the moral conflict.
Yeah,
he's like doing fine.
Yeah, like what is his vice? I'll have to ask.
He hasn't found it yet. I feel like when he finds it, it's gonna ruin him. Like he's teed up for the karmic scale to absolutely obliterate.
I hope not. He's one of the greatest people on earth. He deserves every ounce of good that he's got in his life. Anywho,
2 different perspectives.
Yeah. And then it looks like Arkham, Children of Blood charged yesterday. So you can still pre-order that technically, but if you have a subscription and that got automatically spun up, it's been charged. That releases August 14th. And as always, we aim for release day delivery, so that'll be shipping out that week.
Dude, Contel Martin for the great question. Can you do a quick pitch for basketball for anyone who's not bought in yet?
Into basketball?
Yeah. As if it were just another TCG,
I can give you a quick pitch. For watching it or playing it?
Playing
or
it.
both? It just has a it's a physical activity that's a really fun game
Yeah,
that
I
you
don't
can
know.
play. You
I'm
can
not
play
convinced.
as few as one person and as many as 10 people.
Oh, so it has a solo mode.
It has a solo mode. Yeah, it definitely has a solo mode.
Which I guess football really doesn't.
Yeah, you
You
can't
could kick it, I guess, and then go get it.
It's really
but
not fun to play football by yourself.
That's right.
But
that's
you
right.
can. I could go play basketball for an hour by myself.
What about baseball? You can't really do that well either.
Mm,
You hit the ball, you gotta go get it.
Perhaps it was the first solo mode game,
Wow.
like sport.
Wow.
Soccer's kind of hard. I mean, you can kick it into the
You
net,
can practice,
but
and
it's not.
stuff, but
It's not the same.
you got that backboard that kind of
Yeah,
sends it back to you.
that's right.
Huh.
Did it?
That's the best pitch of all. It's like the first solo sport.
That's twice today, everyone. You guys hear that? My summation of Hubworld and my pitch for basketball. It's a
New
real
Zealand
special
changed you,
podcast.
man. I don't
yeah.
know.
What can I say?
It's that fresh air.
I have been often described as succinct. That's a lie. All right, on to the topic. Speaking of succinct, let's get there.
I love volleyball.
You want to go chronological?
I suppose, as long as Larry's not in the chat.
So
Drive him crazy.
I guess a week and a half ago. Yeah, things in order.
Things in order.
Our,
Crazy.
our tag director.
Mhm.
Well, how can this go wrong?
He orders things based on the quantum noise.
I thought he just ordered it based on vibes, which maybe is the same thing.
I think it is the same thing.
Anywho,
scientific vibes.
So a week and a half ago, Steven, Jonathan, and I traveled to Las Vegas, Nevada, and we left early in the morning on Friday. We came back in the evening on a Friday.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And we went, specifically, the Pro Tour was happening in Las Vegas for Feb. And we went to film commentary. We're going to have an episode of Table Time coming up with Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
And so what we actually did is we built the decks that Steven and I played at the 2021 Las Vegas Flesh and Blood TCG calling.
Yeah.
And Steven and I played with those decks against each other and filmed it for like 5 hours one day.
Mm.
And then
that was a great jam session.
We took
it reminded me of
the
old
best
days,
game
sure.
from that, and we produced it into a video that we could take to Vegas with us and sit down with the Pro Tour going on behind us and film commentary on top of that gameplay with James White.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really cool. But
Yeah.
everything about what I just said was cool because getting back in that zone, remembering what Fab was like back then, playing those games, then going back to I haven't been to a Fab event since my daughter was born, like a big Fab event. And being back in that environment, I saw so many people that I knew, and that was cool. But then being there and then also recording the commentary on top and witnessing James get to witness that era again for the first time.
Yeah, that's what really struck me.
It was really cool.
I mean, James was like so authentically stoked to be there and like was like bought into every play and was like following along and asking us, should we have done this instead? And it's just, I mean, it's one thing, we've talked to James many times and you can feel that passion and kind of desire to see this game through and that it means so much to him. And I've heard the same from a lot of the people working at Legend Story, but to actually witness it firsthand and then to be able to share that with this video that we're posting is awesome. I was just really struck by that. He was not only like excited about the game and like was in it and was like happy about it, but it wasn't put on. Like he wasn't in like content creation mode and I've got to put on a face. You can tell the difference. And he was very much just like genuinely happy to be there and happy to be seeing this kind of game and how we were approaching Ranger and Ruined Blade at the time. And he just like kind of recognized that, I don't know, he knew Azalea was not great then. And he knew Viscera had big struggles. And then we start off and you're playing like Tome of the Arc Knight and stuff and blowing his mind. And then I have some very fun Ranger plays in there too. But like the funny thing is like that Azalea deck that I took at that event was like mainly generic attacks because you just, once you test enough, you realize that you can't have a hand of all arrows that doesn't do anything.
Arrows
so
are all pumps.
You have to minimize your arrows, minimize your pumps, and maximize your go again generic attacks. So I think it was also really cool to see from our perspective the level of innovation and like weirdness that we were bringing to those decks that probably makes him feel cool that he's developed and designed a game that allows that kind of expression. I don't know that he often gets to see that because he probably is checking in on the top tables, top four, seeing who the finalists are, what they're running, kind of tweaking designs based on that. But you rarely get to see like the fourth round of Swiss with somebody who's like 2-2 and how they're playing your game.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really cool thing to share with him.
I think it's also, even just as a player of Fab, you think you remember what it was like, right? And like both your skill level then, but even just the cards available to you then. But you really don't, because I was playing during our session and constantly I thought I had Spellbound Creepers, and I didn't.
Yeah.
I did not have Spellbound Creepers.
Yeah.
But it's hard to imagine what it was like to play Runeblade before I had Spellbound Creepers. And then you get back into it, and it's like, and it just takes you right back into that moment. And it was a really interesting moment because it's been about 5 years since that calling. And that calling was the first major Fab event physically in person, period. So pandemic hit, game had not really had that much success so far. Then by the time you could host again, the game was like super successful. And I remember the Friday night was the Tales of Aria world premiere, like sealed event. And it was 1,000 people, and the energy in that room was just nuts.
Yeah.
And then Saturday was the calling, and it was literally the first event of that size for Flesh and Blood. Meanwhile, James is actually stuck in New Zealand because the pandemic, and they were really tight about letting
tightly
people in and out.
quarantined, weren't they?
And so I'm imagining being the creator of something, working all this time to get there. You achieve the success, and the game is named Flesh and Blood because it's wanting to bring people together in Flesh and Blood, and you just can't even be there.
Yeah. Kind of a sick irony, really.
Which is devastating.
Yeah.
And fortunately, since then, the game has continued to grow and be successful. And he was there at this event, right? And he's there at a ton of different events. And so you just kind of get to see it for what it is, and you revisit a very particular moment. And it was really, really a fascinating, as both player and our role here, and we're like seeing him witness it and having those conversations. It was really interesting. So I'm excited about that episode for sure.
One thing he shared, I don't remember if this was on camera or off, was how Fab has gotten to a point where it's been out long enough and the fan base has been around long enough that it can kind of, it has fans of very specific heroes and moments and eras, and they can start playing with the history of the game and how Usurp is a piece of that, where like there's enough fans and there's enough world and enough history here that you can actually start moving into these character arcs and like actually changing these things. And people who like, played Viserai 6 years ago are suddenly re-engaged with this idea that this is now a kind of self-referential universe, that it can actually entice people who are familiar with its history to new directions and new ways of understanding the world of Wraith and what's going on there. And, that's not true at the beginning. You have to spend so much time establishing the ground floor of what this is, what's happening, who the heroes are, what the drama is. And now he feels like they're at a point where they can start kind of, it's almost like giving back to the players in a way, like rewarding players with new kind of new histories, new ways of thinking about the game and the heroes, which you just can't do. Like if your first set is Welcome to Wraith and your second set is Usurp the Shadow Throne, it doesn't work. So you've reached a certain gravity where the universe itself is so big, and you can explore it further by going deeper rather than wider.
Well, and even the game itself has history now. And that he was talking about that. I mean, they're on 20 sets. Even the competitive history and the players and who's won and what heroes have rotated out and all the stuff. Year one, you can't celebrate past champions. Like there's just no, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, right.
So a lot of layers to that. But I thought that was really, that is the exact, like to me, that is the kind of thing we were thinking about when Table Time was starting to become an idea. Both our ability to revisit times, like right now, we could revisit the 2014 Netrunner regional season for your Anatomy of Anarchy situation.
Just see account siphon played over and over again.
Here is what it felt like to play Netrunner in 2014, because you romanticize it too to a point.
Yeah, you do.
Right now, it's like
it was degenerate.
Netrunner LCG was the greatest thing ever, and it was the best times of our life. But I remember being in it, and it's like I'm so sick of account siphon.
Dude, it's totally overpowered.
Or Scorched Earth. It was
Yeah,
like
it's broken.
It was just like, why does this card exist, etc. Or why is this not good enough? Or why did they make Edward Kim this way? Or whatever it is. So it is
Jackson Howard and
it is nice to look back, and it's also you always look back with. It's never going to be the same as being in the moment, but you look back on it a little differently as well because you didn't like right now. We look back at the account siphon spam stuff. It won't be as painful now as it was then.
Yeah. Well, and also on the we saw this with the Fab games. It's like we had gotten so much better at the game after those decks had been built and played at that event that going back and revisiting those decks, we were both like, oh my God, I would change a lot about this. Like I can see why I wasn't doing well because of this, this, and this. I wonder if it'd be the same with Netrunner. Like if it'd be like, oh man, like just a greater understanding of card games and like how to build decks and what the deck is trying to do and what the meta game was. It's like maybe I would switch like 5 to 10 cards in that deck.
I definitely think you would lose some points off of just not being as in it as you are. But realistically, I feel like I'm so much better at card games now than I was then.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if I played any of those games now, and sometimes this happens, like trying to build the Star Wars TCG decks again. It's like my approach is
it's like, what was I doing?
Crazy different. Yeah, it's a whole different world that we're living in. Part of that is you had years of experience of Netrunner after that moment. Similar with Fab now. Like I had years of experience with Fab later, and specifically with Runeblade and with Viscerai. Right.
Yeah.
The other part is that you just grow as a person over time as well. And like hopefully you do. And
that's why John Bruno built such good Game of Thrones decks.
That's right.
He just seen it all, man. He just been in the card game space for so long.
Well, he had been in that card game for 15
him and
years.
Atkinson, yeah.
Like if we were still insert any game here playing it, it was sort of like by the end of the pandemic streams for Arkham Horror, as an example. If you go back to 2016 and we started playing, I do think we would play it more efficiently.
Yeah.
than when you first started playing the game.
We had some killer decks in that game. What's up, Terrence? Any announcements for tracking out of Indy? Let's see. No. I mean, I'll look and I'm looking forward to knowing. I actually don't know if Sorcery's going to say anything about the releases that they've got coming up. Gen Con a lot of times is when they'll like spoil their preview stuff, or players will start saying, "Well, Ira said this" or whatever. So I'm curious about that. I don't think is here be at Gen Con. They're not going.
I mean,
it used to be such a big deal because we were FFG like exclusive.
Well, it was FFG.
And they owned Gen Con.
I also feel like, and I don't know if this is us or the world, like people would genuinely reveal new things at Gen Con.
Yeah.
And like, hey, we're announcing a game. Here's a new game. You can try it now, kind of a thing. Whereas I feel like there's so many like teasers and build up and crowdfunding campaigns and stuff that like Gen Con is where you go when you have an actual thing to show people.
Yeah.
Not to promote a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like at least, and again, so I don't know if it's us or them, but more and more, the first thing I thought of was Echo of Omens out of Ghost Galaxy. But it's like we've known about that for like a year because they started teasing it. And they showed it. Maybe it was Gen Con last year. I think I played it, a version of it last Gen Con. And they're supposed to be at Gen Con this year as well. But it's like these build windows are so long. And usually they're hyping not towards Gen Con even. So I'll be curious if there is anything that comes out of Gen Con that is unknown or that is new or looked for really. But there's nothing specific on my radar right now.
We find ourselves in an extremely fortunate position at this point, where like most of the time, anything that would be a new thing at Gen Con, we probably have been told about or heard about. Like if somebody's gonna try to announce a giant, crazy indie card game randomly at Gen Con, they probably have tried to get in touch with us first. Like it's just not when you're a fan of in tabletop, which we were for so long, playing like a single game. We would get hit by random stuff all the time at Gen Con. It was actually awesome. But now, like just the way the industry works, it's like you want people and you want all of your partners and anybody who's going to be involved in the success of a game to have awareness of it before you announce it largely to the public, right? That's just kind of how the world works. So kind of unfortunately, we don't get that crazy, oh my God, all this excitement at once feeling. And I also think to your point, it's kind of like how everyone keeps moving Black Friday up. You know?
Yeah.
It's like it was Black Friday, and then everyone's doing it on Black Friday, so the store that goes to Cyber Monday or whatever, or Cyber Black Thursday gets a day of exclusive deals, where they're not competing with all the other deals on that Friday. And then the next one's like, well, what if I did mine on Wednesday? And then pretty soon you just got like Black Friday starting in like, July, and now you have Christmas in July or whatever.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things where I think with Gen Con, you realize that stacking up 1,000 different big announcements makes all of them muted, unless you're the one, like the Keyforge.
Yeah.
Like FFG was great at that. You say that all the
Yeah.
time, and it's true. They own Gen Con.
They owned it. Yeah.
But if you're not that, then you're just lost in the noise immediately,
Mhm.
right? So at a certain point, it's like, why announce anything at Gen Con?
Yeah. I feel like announcing at Gen Con, it was not only did FFG own it, but they had a system in place where that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would announce it in August, get people amped, get all the coverage, get the demo games, get the press, get the retailers are there to try it and on board. And then it was like, this is releasing in October.
Yeah.
So it's like announced, pre-order it with your distributor, start the cycle,
Mm-hmm.
get excited. So if you're specifically an indie, that cycle doesn't really work because one, you have to get into Gen Con. part one. Seriously,
I
like
know,
it's
it's
so
classic
hard.
problem.
Like even Alpha Clash and Warlord and Sorcery are all there, and they're going to have smaller booths towards the back, and so you're going to be fighting for space at all.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas FFG had built for 20 years to have a prominent space. So you have to have space, period.
Mm.
But then you probably want to have a product that you can physically show that is either already on sale or can be on sale right now or is going to come out this year.
Yeah.
And that's just not how the world works for most companies now, right?
I
Unless
think-
you're a larger established company in the space, in which case, honestly, like if you're Asmodee, then it's just a different ball game now.
Yeah, it's harder. Like awareness, like building awareness is a much more slow. Like if you're an indie publisher, you have to basically find your audience starting from zero. If you're FFG, you basically talk to the same audience and say, here's a new thing you can buy.
Yeah.
And that's a much different thing.
And you have a giant booth already at Gen Con in the middle when you first walk in.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, a new Star Wars game.
Put a Star Wars banner up and
it's
you're like, okay.
Done.
Yeah.
We did the thing. Of
Mhm.
course, this makes sense. So, yeah, it's just a very different. You can picture it as an example of this. If you, Here We Monster just completed their crowdfunding campaign. And you could see a world where instead of doing any of that, they had the funding to pre-make the entire first set.
Mm.
It's already at the
Somehow.
factory right now. They have a big booth at Gen Con. They somehow wheel and deal to get in. And then it's like, hey, we have this new game. You can try it. We have a preview deck in every bag at Gen Con.
Mhm.
You can try the game. You can come by the booth and like buy a stowaway box. One per person will punch your badge and like, this is what you can buy. Release in October. You can pre-order it from distributors. You can do the whole, and it's like, new indie studio has none of that. They don't have the resources. They don't have the connections. They don't have the pipeline.
That's maybe a valid strategy, though.
To do it
Christian
that way.
could have done that with Echo.
Yeah,
probably.
totally. Yeah, I don't think it's a wrong strategy.
Mhm.
I just think it's sort of like the wall kind of finally coming down on crowdfunding, where for a good 10, 15 years there, outside of board games, it was kind of looked down upon.
Mhm.
Like expandable games, card games did not.
It was like a sign that you weren't legit.
Yeah, they did not do it. And it makes sense. It's so expensive and hard.
Yeah.
To do it. But if you have the ability to just have it ready and in stock, and you have all the pipelines established, etc., there's definitely an upside to not having an 18-month crowdfunding,
Mhm.
manage a campaign, manage expectations for 18 months, deliver on a thing,
And rebuild the
window,
excitement.
and then
right?
rebuild the hype.
Yeah.
So like, it is an approach.
Mm.
But even Christian, like now with Ghost Galaxy, like he doesn't have the FFG thing.
Yeah.
So he could have done it that way.
Like he has, I would assume that he has the ability to self-fund and generate awareness and have connections that he could have pulled that off if he was ready. Which is it's such a weird gamble to say, like, is this where I want to spend all of my marketing budget? Is this one event that has to go well or my entire game fails?
And that, I mean, historically though, that was especially once you get the momentum of it as FFG, that was the best bet.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, I think that just calls into question. We'll see what the ultimate approach looks like, but I would assume that's actually, even if you can pull it off, it's still better to go ahead and just do crowdfunding.
Mm.
to not take the risk, to get the energy and the people that are into crowdfunding instead of just like retail release kind of thing. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Big question, isn't it?
Like,
Hey, speaking of Kickstarter, a lot of questions about this vault thing that Asmodee has announced or FFG
have you
has
seen
announced.
this?
No, I didn't. I
Yeah,
don't. I mean, I get the idea.
they're
Right?
doing
It
crowdfunding.
just basically it's a fancy way of saying we're going to kickstart old games. I guess.
Yeah.
Reprint them.
Basically, we're gonna kickstart or crowdfund reprints of old games instead of printing them.
Are they doing any crowdfunding for new titles at FFG?
That is not what the vault is.
But have they historically done
I don't
that?
think they have.
So this is kind of like hey, we're getting into crowdfunding, but like in this very exclusive way, just old titles, not future
currently
stuff. Yeah.
But well,
that's the problem. Is like it just at a certain point, it's just better. Like it's just better for the publishers to do it this way. If you could get money for a thing that you haven't made yet now, and then make the thing, that does seem better than making the thing and getting money later, hopefully.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, the upside. And this is really kind of the approach we were talking about. To me, the upside of print it and sell it is the distance between interest and excitement and engaging with the thing is really short. So this happens for anyone that's crowdfunding something. I would assume almost everyone in that bucket has had the experience where they're really excited about something, they back it, but by the time they actually get it, not excited anymore. Or like
something else has taken over though.
Yeah. Like right now, if you backed Here Be Monsters, but then at Gen Con, some game comes out, captures your interest, and then Here Be Monsters doesn't come out till next June. By the time you get Here Be Monsters, you may have moved on.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that was a cool in concept, but now I'm in love with this game and I have these 4 people I'm playing with.
True.
And I'm off to the races. So there is some downside to that. But anyways, just the two approaches, like just having something in stock and ready to go versus this long tail. And one has less risk in a certain sort of way.
Well, and is there really a downside for board games though? That's the reason it's so big for board games.
What was the name of the company that was like, once we have enough people pre-order, we'll definitely do it?
Yeah.
What's
the
that
old
called?
System. By the something 500.
It is the something 500.
RX 500.
So the thing that's curious to me about this
bike.
is if it's a reprint of an old thing.
PX?
I'm a little curious.
GMT,
yeah.
P500.
So
thank you. Gross Meridian
Thompson. The thing that's a little curious to me is I picture, let's say you make Spirit Island, the board game. And
cool.
You could.
Where's my check?
Yeah, right. Where's my royalties? Anyways, Asmodee has a store. Like they could just launch and they have a pay later kind of feature where you don't pay until it's shipping or whatever. They could just as easily just put up an item and be
but
like,
it wouldn't do it.
I know, it's really interesting.
It's just the problem is like it's a whole thing. It's a whole ecosystem that suddenly is just like built and here now and getting through. And there's people that just scroll through Kickstarters and there's YouTube channels that just cover what's on Kickstarter. It's a whole vibe.
Yeah. Well, and this is part of the marketing hype excitement engine is if you have a game getting reprinted and maybe you do a deluxe version, you have this whatever, and it's launched on Kickstarter and it's $2 million in funding. Like, that is the kind of thing people talk about, which is more marketing. And it's like, oh, a bunch of people are buying this. Maybe I should look into it. When before it would have just been, the Arkham Horror board game reprint on Asmodee's website.
Right.
So
that's true. You get a little social proof.
I think it's strictly social proof marketing hype engine campaign. But it is interesting because, like, I don't know. I'm just picturing. I remember when Wingspan was going crazy, and let's say it has since cooled off, and Jamie's like, I'm not sure if I should hit print on more. It's hard imagining him being like, all right, I'm going to launch a Kickstarter to see if more people want this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I don't know. It's weird. It's psychology. Also, this is pretty crazy from Rain. 1224. FFG could extend this to their out of print LCGs too. So imagine what would happen, right? If there's an Android Netrunner full set reprint, everything that's ever been made for the game. What happens?
Well, two things. First of all, I think they don't have the license to do it.
Okay, great. So they
that one specifically,
they get sued. Okay.
But if they could, they would sell so much of it. I bought it into a collection, and I had my collection left actually still, but then there was someone I saw selling collection, so I bought it. And like, short version, those collections sell for a lot of money.
Yeah.
This person was willing to sell it to someone for not a lot of money if they knew it was someone who actually wanted it and wasn't just going to resell
Amazing.
So kudos to them.
And then you resold it, right?
Definitely, immediately right on eBay. No, I'm just kidding. I still have it.
Realist.
But I know I had friends sell their Netrunner collection for also lots of money. So I assume if you could just reprint it, same. It was really curious to me. They were reprinting the Lord of the Rings LCG for a while in like box set things, and then they just stopped.
Probably didn't sell well enough.
But my data says wrong otherwise.
Well,
people I know.
Well, corporate no printing starts, it's because they didn't make enough money.
It didn't sell enough. It reminds me of the LCG conversation at large, which is it's not that it wasn't profitable, it's that it wasn't profitable enough.
And it could have been they started up unlimited and the printers were busy or whatever.
Yeah, who knows?
You know
Anyways,
how logistics goes.
Would be cool.
Yeah.
Would be cool.
Anyway, how about New Zealand? Huh?
New Zealand. Okay, so we went to Vegas.
What a cool place.
That's coming. Within a couple days later, we left to go to New Zealand. And if you've never been, 1, it's beautiful. 2, it's winter right now, which is great. 3, the flight, our non-connecting flights, basically, just from Dallas to Sydney, Australia. Then we had to have a flight from Sydney to New Zealand. We had to have a flight from Tulsa to Dallas. Just the main flight on the way out there was like 17.5 hours. The longest flight I've maybe ever been on was like 9 hours to Europe.
Yeah,
somewhere.
It was like long.
Ooh, it was long.
Yeah,
it was a long flight.
Here's something that you guys, Zach probably won't mention this, but I'll mention it. But Jonathan and I had our kind of mutual work anniversary. What are the numbers on that? Have I officially been an employee for 16 years?
In August, you will have officially been an employee for 17 years.
17 years. Got and that W-2.
Jonathan's is 13.
Yeah, he did contract for a long time.
Yeah, it's sort of...
And free time.
A little all wonky. So in January, Covenant will officially be 20, which is wild. And you started doing stuff, I guess, probably 5 months in, because that was the first summer.
Yeah.
And from then it didn't stop. And then Jonathan started doing stuff basically the second
About
summer.
The same time, yeah.
That first one, not really, but it was the second one, 2008. And it's kind of a weird.
It's when we were on the books.
Yeah.
When officially a W-2 employee. Yeah.
So anyways.
Anyway, so we were doing that and it was the trip. And Zach totally surprises us. It's incredible.
It's probably the best utilization of my love of surprises.
So we're like getting on the airplane, about to get on the airplane, and he rolls
on the 17-hour flight.
These basically beautiful retro recreation Game Boys. Mod Retro, I think, is the brand.
Yeah, Game Boy Colors.
They're like they're metallic-y. They feel awesome, but they're basically Game Boys, Game Boy Colors, and with Pokemon. I had Pokemon Red, Jonathan had Pokemon Blue, and you had Pokemon Yellow. So I grew up with Red. Jonathan grew up playing Blue, and Yellow I think was new for you. Yeah, Had you played Yellow before?
I played Red.
Yeah,
but I never played Yellow, which is basically just Red and Blue with some. I mean, there's a little Pikachu that follows you around.
And I remember you could catch Farfetch'd in the wild in Yellow. And so you didn't have to have the one named Ducks. And I was like so stoked. Of course, I love Farfetch'd because it's probably maybe one of the worst Pokemon in the game.
Tier F.
But I was especially miffed that you had to have this dumb name on it.
Yeah.
So, and you had to catch it. And because it was a traded like in-game Pokemon, it couldn't be as strong because it hadn't been trained over a long enough period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so we roll into this 17-hour flight with Game Boys and Pokemon.
And what comes next is obvious.
And what comes next is 26 hours played on that bad boy between the flight there and the flight back, dude. I got all the way up to you got to the Elite Four and beat the Elite Four. I'm like one cave away from the Elite Four.
Yeah. You're also. I have the more aggro approach.
Yeah,
I got to the end and you had to like replace your Pokemon box where you store your Pokemon.
Yeah, Zach got like 16.
And I was like. Why are you having to do that? I've never appreciated
like 58,
this before.
And you're like, I got like 16, man.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good.
Well, it was really, I debated for a while whether or not to tell you guys or give them to you before the trip. Because what proceeded to happen, which I loved seeing everyone approach this in their own way. But as soon as we had internet, it was like Steven was on a research tear.
It was the best ever.
Like, I got to build my ideal team, and how am I going to train, and like what moves are they going to learn? And
you got to know what TMs you're going to teach them, which is not a luxury I had when I was a child.
Yeah.
You just click the button, and you're like, I don't know what a hyper beam is.
Let's try it.
Put it on that thing.
And then you never get it again. It's
like,
on your side duck.
Oh, there's stab damage. There's same type attack bonuses. I never knew that. There's like all these things. Oh, if it's a fixed damage attack, it doesn't count for physical. There's a physical stat and a special stat. I didn't know what those meant. And then it's like, oh, it's your special defense and your special offense. And some attacks look like they'd be special, but they're actually physical. And like, it's like, oh my God, I can like actually play the game now.
Yeah, you can play it well.
It is incredible.
Yeah, it was really fascinating. The whole week we were talking about our teams, and
it was cool. And the background of the whole thing was just like this Pokemon burn. And it was so crazy because we're going to New Zealand to see Erik's Curiosa to play Sorcery, which in many ways is the primordial trading card game, right? It's basically a giant love letter to Alpha Magic, which we can talk about, of course.
Sorcery, yeah.
Yeah. The original. Did I say Sorcery? Did I miss that?
You did. I just, in my head, you were saying that Pokemon was a love letter. And I was like, well, this isn't following.
No, not quite. No, Sorcery. But basically, there's a parallel here where Sorcery is kind of speaking back to this old era of late 90s. Late 90s, early 2000s, really late 90s Magic, and kind of what it was like to be a kid playing a card game in those days. And all during the flight, I'm literally playing a late 90s Game Boy game.
We had to get back in the mindset.
Exactly like it was when I was a child. And I have to tell you, like, it held up tremendously well. Maybe better than I even remember it, which is so rare that you would say, like, that's just so rare to happen. Usually you kind of have this rosy outlook and you go back and you play these games, they feel clunky and weird and all of that. I mean, Pokemon was an absolute delight.
Yeah, it's sort of like I saw footage recently from GoldenEye. Is that the game?
Mm-hmm.
The Bond game on N64?
The Bond game, yeah, GoldenEye. Yeah,
GoldenEye.
Yeah. GoldenEye.
And in my head, it looks a certain way.
Yeah.
But then you
Terrible.
watch it, and it's like, oh, goodness. Same with the pod racing game, actually.
Oh, yeah.
There's a new pod racing game coming out soon, and it looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks how I felt like it looked when I was a kid playing the pod racing N64 game.
Yeah.
But you play the N64 game, and it's like, oof.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of pixels, yeah.
But I was curious, and I took a chance on all this, right? Was like, do I love Pokemon because Pokemon was phenomenal, or because I was 9? And in the 90s, at 9, Pokemon is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I got about 10 minutes in, and I very quickly was like, no, this is good.
Yeah.
This is really good.
And the thing that I love about it as a parallel to these old games is like all that stuff that I then could access on the internet. It was like a perfect representation of our existence right now. These are all the things that I never knew.
Yeah.
And the game didn't bother to tell me. It didn't. What modern theory would say, okay, you click the TM, it tells you what it is, it tells you what it does.
It maybe was like, it might be good on these kinds of Pokemon.
Yeah, it might give you a little tutorial, but it could at least say, this is the damage type, this is how much base damage it does, this is what bonuses it will get from which Pokemon. Make an informed decision, put it on the correct Pokemon on your team so that it does max damage. And instead, they just said, do you want this thing to learn Hyper Beam or not, kid? And you're like, I don't know. So then there's this element of like discovery.
Is the thing you put on, is Thunderbolt the good electric move?
Yeah. It's the
So
goat.
I use my Thunderbolt TM on the Pikachu, who in yellow just learns it automatically.
Yeah, oops. You never know.
And it didn't warn me. It wasn't like, hey, are you sure in 3 levels he's going to learn this anyway?
Learn this ability. No.
Yeah, I just wasted it.
There's 50 TMs in that game, and like they don't even tell you that you can't overwrite a HM once you teach
my
it to your
Charizard
Pokemon.
learns cut.
You're like, well, okay, I need cut. Okay, I'll teach to this thing, and then you're like, okay, cool. My 4th move, I'll just replace the cut, and they're like, you can't do that.
No.
And I, well, why didn't you? And then there was that. I hit the Articuno, and I'm going, and I click. I do the perfect. I get it to like 1 health. Perfect. It's there. I've got the Ultra Balls ready to go. Boom. I click to throw the Ultra Ball, and it says, your Pokemon box is full. You can't catch any more Pokemon. And I'm like, oh, my dear God.
Which is
so
insane.
I'm going to turn the game off.
It's a 1 per game encounter. And you have to...
I got to turn it off, turn it on, go to the Poké Center, change
and when
my
you turn
box.
it off, turn it on, it goes back to your last save.
Yeah, of course. So
which
then
is
I
maybe
lost the
30
cave,
minutes ago.
You know,
yeah.
And I got to do
and you're
the
deep in this
boulders.
crazy cave.
Yeah. But they don't tell you anything. And our trip to New Zealand, so when I was talking to Erik, which we did a lot of, what I came away from, one of the big things was that he understood the value and also loved that exact approach where you do not spoon feed anybody anything. and you let them figure it out themselves, that the process of discovery and mystery and not being obvious and upfront about X, Y, and Z is what made that era so magical. And that was the case with Magic. Like Magic, you'd find someone would be playing a card that you didn't even know existed. They got it at some promo from San Andreas, whatever, and it's just like, oh, whoa, that's a new card. But you had to put it together. The whole idea, the players are figuring out the mana curve and like this meta game and how to do this and how to do that and what cards work well together. That's the joy of it. Like, it's not that you just look at the manual and then you have the perfect math for how everything should work. It's you have to talk to each other. You have to go to I remember I got the old Pokemon guide, that one time. Finally had this guide and it would have every Pokemon in it and what moves they could learn for the first time. And you were like, your mind was blown, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, that starts to get easier and easier and easier. And there's moments where that is like awesome and tantalizing. But if all of that information is just presented to you all at once, here's everything you need to know about how to play this game optimally, then you lose something really important.
Well, there's layers to that. There's a discovery element, and it's even having access to the internet, which we did.
It was mainly forums, though.
The game itself didn't spoon feed it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like. Things that seem really intuitive, and we'll eventually segue this into card games. That seem really intuitive, like when I go to teach Thunderbolt to Pikachu, the game could warn me.
Yeah.
Hey, Pikachu learns this at 30.
Mm-hmm.
Or you get the Thunderbolt TM, and the game, you could click a button that says, which Pokemon should I put this on?
Yeah.
And it could tell you, like,
yeah,
it can go on these 3, and we probably recommend this one.
Mm-hmm.
And you might think that would be a really helpful tool for players to have.
Because if the goal is the player should never be able to make a mistake.
That's right.
Should always be optimal.
Yeah. Well, and to kind of segue that into card games, one thing that kind of came up on our trip was effectively there being perfect information in the market, like a truly efficient marketplace. And what I mean by that is a new set comes out of a game. Let's just say Sorcery as an example when Gothic came out. And TCG Player exists, which means you can see the whole set from day one, part 1.
Mm-hmm.
Part 2 is that you get real-time information, not on actual levels of power, but on buying behavior. Because as is it the Pied Piper? Is that one? No,
yeah, Pied Piper family.
Card?
Yeah, the control all things of one power.
Yeah. So like Pied Piper is a card. It's unique in Gothic, and you can see it's like, oh man, a lot of people are buying it.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but as it gets bought, of course, price is going to slowly start going up. So it's sort of like being able to just constantly know how much a card is worth, which is several leaps down the field of the first set of Magic coming out as an example. But when that is true, behavior gets really different.
Mm-hmm.
And the experience is way different because you open a pack and it's so easy now. You can open a whole box as an example. And it's so easy. And people almost flippantly say it where it's like, oh, like that box the value was in the box or not. Or like, because you open a box and you paid $166 for a Gothic box. Did you get $166 or more in value out of the box? Mm-hmm. Which in 1997, you couldn't even actually answer. There were magazines, and they would adjust, but it would be like someone's opinion. Yeah. It's not like perfect actual information. And then what that allows is, I remember going through this, Star Wars TCG, let me paint you a picture, 2002, 2003, Steven and I are prepping for the regional qualifier at Top Deck Games in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Falcon's Needs is like the bane of everyone's existence. It's this attachment. It's like a tax you have to pay every round. You can't get rid of it. Your opponent puts them on your units. You can have 4 in the deck. Obnoxious. We find a little card called Dark Sacrifice. Just like 2 force, blow up on your units, gain a bunch of stuff, power, and do your thing. So your opponent spends their whole turn putting 3 Falcon's Needs on your big thing. Middle of your turn, you just discard your thing, get a bunch of extra power, do damage. And no one was onto that card. And it was the perfect call for that meta exactly. I think it was an amazing thing.
Everyone
like
this
experience.
Top 4-ish on that regional.
So it was like Jason got 1st, I got 4th, you got 5th, Philip got 7th. And we're these small town kids, with partial collections.
Time of our lives, man.
But
it's like 40 players there, right?
It was like 80, 90 players.
Was it 80 or 90?
Yeah, it was packed. It was big. at the time, it was the biggest event I'd ever been to.
God, I love crushing that meta game like that.
Yeah, and it was just like easy mode most of the matches.
Yeah,
because everyone's light side deck is just all in on this Falcon's Needs strategy.
We had solved it. That's maybe the first and only time we fully solved a meta.
Yeah, we were ready. Anyways,
the internet has hurt our ability to be tricky.
That's right. Well, because it's perfect information.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that's what even we were discussing this because the instigating thing that actually someone was asking earlier how we got the James Fab thing, and yes, we did just ask. But the thing that instigated that was actually we're going to go to New Zealand, and we were going to be in New Zealand. Eric's Curiosa is there, and so is Legend Story Studios. So it's like, hey, we're going to be in New Zealand. We'd like to film this thing. It just so happened he wasn't going to be in New Zealand, so we went to Vegas instead, which is funny.
Mhm.
But the kind of instigating thing we were doing in New Zealand was actually playing Alpha Magic or early old school Magic with Erik
Mhm.
while we were there.
Because you
And-
don't travel with those cards.
Yeah, that's right.
You just can't travel with those cards.
They're
too
And that
expensive.
was one of the things that we filmed while we were there. But anyways, why was I instigating that? Why was I talking about that?
Because
story?
you wanted to talk about Black Lotus. And all the moxes that we played
yeah,
and touched and
but,
shuffled.
John.
And,
but like the
and Time Walk
back in the day, right?
Ancestral Recall.
When that is coming out,
Time Twister.
you have no idea what's good, and you have the opportunity to discover that for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and you have no choice but to discover it for yourself. And then not only that, but when you make a call that is like, I think this card's really good, I'm going
Mhm.
to collect it, and then it suddenly becomes good. In the same way that you get to the final four of Pokemon, and it's like, did you build a good team?
Yeah. Do you have the coverage that you need?
And when you don't, it's like, oh god. And you go through. I remember the first time I got to the end of that game, I had to spend the extra probably 10 hours
Mm-hmm.
reconstructing because I couldn't get through one of the people.
Yeah.
And it was probably because I didn't have water on my team.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, no, gross. Like, what? I'm obviously not picking Squirtle. And then every time you see a fish, a guy gives you a fishing pole, and you're
Every
like,
time you see a fish.
and you're immediately go to the market and you cash it in.
And
for
you probably
money.
didn't even know that there was a Gyarados on the other side of that magic
No,
card.
not even.
Not
No.
until somebody told
No.
you, and one of your friends was like, "Dude, do you know that if you level up the Magikarp, it turns into a dragon?"
100%. That's
And then you're
exactly
like,
how I found
"What?"
out. It's a flying water dragon snake, and it's
Mhm.
like, okay, I can get into that. But now I have to go find the stupid fish, and then if you ever had a level 8 Magikarp, he doesn't level up to level 20.
I know.
That's 12 levels of he starts the fight, you swap him in for someone else, and you just get punched in the mouth first.
Yeah, and somebody had to do that at the beginning to just find out
Yep.
if anything happened at the end of
all,
that.
all sorts of shenanigans. And there
Yeah.
are little things to discover, and there's buildings you don't even need to do anything with. But if you do this crazy elaborate puzzle building and figure it out, you eventually get this TM that is maybe worthless, but maybe
Mhm.
the best thing ever.
You
And
got
you just don't
hidden,
know.
there's hidden stuff on the ground, etc. But this is so I got to talk to Erik a lot about Diablo 2. Obviously, with him being one of the founders of Path of Exile, that's a very relevant conversation and kind of his experience with D2. And he and my experience with D2 into D3 being a very similar situation, which is this exact thing. I mean, it's exactly what we're talking about with Pokemon not spoon feeding you X, Y, and Z. Like, the thing about Diablo 2 that was incredible is like you had this big talent tree of basically the 3 different branches that your particular hero could go into of any given class. So you could specialize in one thing, you kind of dance around a little bit. But there was no respec. There was no, once I've chosen an ability, I didn't like it. And so I can just like reset it and have this character get new stuff. And so a lot of times you would get like 40 levels in because you wanted to see if I take this meteor shower and if I take these other talents that support it and I get to this final like lava bonus, is it good? Like,
Well, and someone's got to do it to find out.
and nobody tells you the damage of the meteor shower and what the buff would do and how that would compare to the damage of the ice nova and what that would mean. And so you just have to go test. Like, you build the character, and then what's really cool is a lot of times you find that, okay, that wasn't great. It didn't work great, but it's sufficient to still be fun, and I still enjoy playing it. And so I like running around casting these meteors, even though doing something else would get it done quicker. It's a cool, new, interesting way to play this game. And then sometimes I find an item that's like, oh my gosh, all my meteor shower stuff is buffed. And so then suddenly it kind of comes together and you're like, oh, so now I figured out there are items exist that buff particular spells. There are ways to build characters that could take advantage of that if I ever were to find something like that again. And it's this kind of a tantalizing mix. And then you get on the forums and you're like, hey, like this meteor shower is like killing skeletons really fast. And then everyone's like, oh man, faster than a Nova for sure. I wonder how much damage that does. And you start to kind of figure it out and you start to massage it. And then eventually, people find that, okay, this is the way to build this particular class to do the most damage per second, period. We know that. And you start to lose that kind of early enchantment where then it eventually kind of devolves into this solved spreadsheet of designer diary math, and then you move on to the next game, right? Like that's typically how it goes. And so what D3 did, the grand mistake of Diablo 3 among many, it removed that entirely. And it's kind of the most obvious example of where something loses its soul, because it took what was a role-playing game where you have a character and they learn things as they level up, and they can't unlearn those things because they're a living freaking entity in a world that somebody has created. And so I can't unlearn the experiences I've had in my life. And so once you introduce that into Diablo 3, and you no longer have a character, you have a blank template that is a class. And on that template, you can add or subtract any abilities you want at any time. And so that's what they did. You no longer were locked into a talent tree. You had all of the druid abilities available at a certain level.
Choose how to spend your points.
And then you just have 4 slots, and you slot in the 4 that you want, and you change them based on encounter. And they were like, well, it'd be more fun for players because they might have to change their abilities every time to perfectly match the encounter they're going to have. And it's like, but don't you see that misses the entire point? You want to build a character that's great at some things and bad at some things, and sometimes you have to fight really hard because you're just not spec'd well against this thing. But then sometimes you built this thing and it was awesome against these things. That's what having a living like entity that you're role playing is all about. It's like you can't just change everything on the fly.
I do. There was a comment. Looks like Contel coming in. But basically, one of the differences between that and a card game is that like you could buy a card, play it, find out you don't like it, and then still change your deck. However, this is where I think Pokemon's a really good analogy or a comparison, because as an example, if you get to the Final Four and your team's not good enough, you aren't just stuck with the 6 Pokemon that you've chosen.
Yeah.
And then it's like you have to level them up so far that you can overcome your disadvantage. But the price, I literally experienced this when I was a kid. The price of now needing to go get a water Pokemon and level them up 30 levels when your whole team is spec'd in a certain kind of way is actually, one, even just catching a Pokemon is so tough at that point, because if you're going to catch a level 8, you need some level 8s to like weaken it. Because all your big stuff just one-shots it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
you can't even catch it.
I actually had to walk backwards through the map, and it's like catch a level 30, and I got rid of Pokemon because of whatever, and it's like catch a level 25, catch a level 18, catch an 8 whatever water Pokemon, and then start like doing the thing.
Yeah, it's not that it's impossible, but you do have to spend some time. But that you engage with the game.
Well, and I think that is where there's a version of Pokemon where you get through the Elite Four and you have your mega team, right? Like I have my 6 all statted up slots, and then the real game begins, which is like now I go around with a mega team facing different challenges. That is a version of the game that you could hypothetically play, but to me, the game of Pokemon is building that team over time, collecting, doing all the stuff that we did to get to the final. And the Final Four is just the test of the thing.
Yeah, you passed. Great.
And then, okay, did it. Mission accomplished. Now, if you really want, you can go catch all the rest of the Pokemon and complete your Pokedex, etc. But that is where it gets mixed up, where you either see, if we take it as tangibly as we can in a card game like Sorcery, the idea of getting the card you want, collecting, and deciding what cards are worth it, and exploring and figuring out the value of stuff as the game, or not. And if you don't view that as part of the game, the button to just buy the exact deck that you want, skip all of it, and not only the exact deck you want, maybe the button is, I watched the World Championship of Fab get played, and I hit a button and buy that deck. And you just skip over the first, everything we just described about Pokemon, and you're just immediately playing with a fine-tuned, constructed deck.
Yeah.
Which, hypothetically, in a card game, if that's how you want to play, that doesn't bother me at all. That is just not what I want at all. And if I could go back to a world where I had the Pokemon experience I just had, but with card games, where there is no online, like, here's the decks that won the tournament, right? Even right now, like we actively avoid it. Like I'm not just gonna go copy. Like we're planning to play the Avatar: The Realm of Sorcery. And it's like I'm pretty sure I'm playing Battle Mage. I haven't looked at a single Battle Mage list.
Yeah,
like because that's the game.
That's what I've realized that you and I share, and I see a lot of people in chat that are on the other side of that, particularly in the respecs and stuff, which I think is great. Like it's not that there's one path that is right. Like obviously D3 was a successful game, and there are successful ways to do these things in other ways.
On the respects, though,
Yeah,
I don't know if this is true or not. You can just fill
I
me in.
probably don't remember either. Yeah.
So I was gonna say, is it like Pokemon where like you went down a talent tree, but like you have an option to develop your character further to fix a thing, or is it you kind of just needed to restart?
No, it would be like I'm at level 60. I've chosen all my abilities. It isn't working, or like my party needs a different whatever, and so I respec into a totally new.
It would be cool if it were more like Pokemon, where it's like you get to level 40, and it's like my character's still my character.
Yeah.
But now level 40 to 55 is going to be learning this other thing.
Yeah.
Because I have now realized that being a, lava builder is not.
Dude, Ultima Online solved this in the very beginning of MMOs. And I think there's others that have done it. I haven't, I'm not well versed. I kind of was aware of Ultima and EverQuest early on, got heavily into World of Warcraft, and haven't really looked at a lot of other ones. But Ultima Online was sick. Because let's say easy way to describe is you have a maximum of like 400 skill points, let's say, and you don't assign them. They are automatically assigned to the things that you do the most in the game.
I see.
Right?
Which checks out.
But what that means is like if I go level 1 through 50 shooting a bow the whole time, my archery skill is 100. So it maxes at 100. But if I stop shooting that bow and start using a sword, my bow skill starts dropping and my sword skill starts going
killer.
up.
Yeah, that's killer.
It's like... But that is the sensation of being in a real world with a real entity, a character, an actual character, not a template. So like in World of Warcraft, right? I was a rogue, dual wield, main weapons rogue. So kind of more a warrior-ish style rogue, which is pretty standard for me. And then it's like, I was like, oh, I guess I'll try the backstab build. And so I respec, and now I've got a dagger and like stealthy and stuff. And it I respect back instantly, because this entire character, I went from 1 to 60 doing the same thing, playing the same kind of game. This character does this. This is what I know how to do. I'm a dual wield sword rogue. Suddenly using a dagger and sneaking around, it's like, that's not, I would rather make a new character whose story is becoming this awesome backstab rogue than take somebody whose story was basically in the scrum with 2 swords, being a whirling dervish sword dancer, and then suddenly decides to just be good at backstab. It just, maybe I'm too connected to these characters. I feel like I'm building a real entity, not just some kind of class that can do things.
Yeah. I mean, I think the through line here though is, and you are attached to those characters. And some people don't even see that as the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine. But I think the real thing for me is that
Let the chat here.
I think there can be an assumed reality as a developer, designer, creator, that the easier, more efficient, more streamlined you make something, the better it is. And there's a reality, which is actually there's immense value in things not being easy. As long as the thing that isn't easy is what people perceive as the challenge or the game that they're wanting to pursue. Where we had the TCG conversation and collectability and gambling and stuff. And so for me, the idea of having to suss out the cards and find the cards and decide which ones are worth buying and collecting and all this stuff is a part of the game that I really enjoy. And for some people, that is an expensive annoyance.
Yes. Right.
Fair enough.
Right.
In the same way that there are plenty of people that probably would play WoW. And maybe, I think you can even do this now. If you could just hit a button and start with a level 70 character
can do that
that's pre-built for you.
That was another one of the soul-crushing realities of that game changing.
And so that's one, not for me. But beyond that, it's just the reality of understanding what the experience you're offering is and not being afraid of things not being easy and efficient and streamlined. Because I do think there's so much magic actually in that zone.
Yeah. And that's something that came through loud and clear from Erik. I think a good way to sum that up is you have to be comfortable alienating certain types of players to totally delight your key player.
Well, and this is the tied to the most successful things aren't the best things vibe, where it's to be at maximum accessibility or a success, you have to be really accessible. And it's like with movies. you kind of want to be a 7 out of 10 for most people
Yeah.
to have a $5 billion movie.
Right.
But the movies that are 10 out of 10 for Steven is probably going to have a much smaller audience.
Yeah.
But the people that love it are going to love it.
It'll be like a 2 out of 10 for a lot of people.
And that's how you ultimately end up with cult classics too, right? Where it's like, for a certain audience, this is like the best thing ever. And for everyone else, not really that interesting.
It just like it means something, you know, like there's a courage. I don't know. There's a courage to that where you just have to. It's delivering. It's just delivering on a brand promise is all that it is. To put it in kind of like lame marketing speak.
Contel's comment is so good. He said, "Well, these two eventually talked about New Zealand trip where they rest in their tangent town forever."
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, this was a big part of the New Zealand. I mean, these are the
journey.
conversations we were having with Erik and Mike and Sean and these guys.
Well, so we went to New Zealand. We filmed Alpha / it's really not even just Alpha. It's like Old School Magic with Erik, which I had never played Old School Magic, and that gave me a huge appreciation. And we'll talk a lot about this on the Table Time episode.
Yeah,
because I won't say I rail on Magic a lot, like generally speaking.
Yeah.
But the Magic I really first saw was early 2000s Magic, not 90s Magic. And so when you have a game you love as much as Sorcery that is effectively a love letter to what it felt like to play Magic in the 90s, it's worth turning over some stones and seeing what was going on there if you have the chance to do it. And that's what we had, was a chance to do that. And so that was really fascinating. But we also filmed some gameplay with Steven and Sean, who's one of the developers there. And I filmed with Mike, Lord of the Rings TCG, which is one of his favorite games. We did a lot of content on it. It's one of my favorite games of all time. So we're playing Pokemon. We're playing Old School Magic, we're playing Sorcery, we're playing Lord of the Rings TCG. We're having a lot of conversations around design, development, philosophy, life, etc. And it makes sense. We just got through with the first half of our Pokemon journey again. And we're playing early Magic. And it's like, there is just something like it's hard to even explain that is going on that makes these different than everything else that's out right now.
Yeah, I think the key piece of this seems to me is you have to be able to separate nostalgia from the lessons that these games teach that are still relevant. Right? So it's easy to be nostalgic for something just because it's what you remember. But it's another thing entirely to say the limitations that existed in this era of game development, design, playing, deck building, etc. were beneficial for these reasons. Like it actually did make a better, more enjoyable game for these reasons. And while those limitations are no longer here, what can we do to try to reclaim some of the concepts and principles that made those games so great? And, you know, that's not a one-for-one, make it like early Magic. It's never going to be that. But can you take lessons that are like, hey, you know, what we learned from early Pokemon is not that, oh, we love early Pokemon because we were kids and it was lovely, but it's because there was a mystique about the unknown in that game that led to a sense of discovery. Every level you were wondering if you were going to get a new move.
Or evolve.
Every time you were wondering, is this thing going to evolve? And that as you know more and more of that information, as it moves towards perfect information and understanding about something, you actually lose a lot of the mystique, magic, the interest in that game, and it's a lot easier to move on from it. So if that is true for our target audience in particular, then how do we design a game, release a game, think about a game that is targeting those kinds of players? And I think that moves well beyond nostalgia into just an honest assessment of what made these games feel so great. And sometimes you look back and you say, it was just nostalgia. Like you do the thing again, you play the thing and you're like, I was really into that because I had it and, you know, mom bought it for me when I was 8 and it's not a great game. Like it's not that fun actually, but it's all that I had. But then sometimes you look back at early Magic, Pokemon, like we're talking about, and you say, there was actually something genuinely great about these games, not just nostalgia. And what is it? And can we somehow kind of bring it back, recapture it through modern design?
Yeah. And I think that's Pokemon, the game for Game Boy, hits at that so heavily because we're on tiny little screens with like such rudimentary graphics on a cartridge that can literally only store so much. And yet, in that restriction, that limitation, what was able to be created in the 90s, crazy.
Yeah.
Especially when you compare it to, I think a lot of times polish can and sizzle can replace the heart of something.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like it looks really cool and it's big and it's crazy and there's lightsabers everywhere, versus like a good story and a well-crafted experience. And in this case, like it does in a world that continually feels more known.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find a YouTube video on anything basically. The genuine sense that you're in this little pocket universe with all this stuff to be discovered and explored, and not just literally like find new Pokemon, but random moves that you can teach your people and teams to construct and like challenges to overcome and crazy little puzzle games as part of it. Yeah. Just really hits at home in a different sort of way. And I don't know, it's almost like convenience is getting prioritized and making something palatable for people over actually taking a chance on something.
Well, that's kind of the mass audience thing that you're talking about with the movies. But that's why we love indies so much.
Yeah,
because
100%.
indies are typically created out of a sense of what Path of Exile was, right? It's created out of a sense of there's something missing from the commercial approach to this genre that has been lost, and I'm going to do my project to bring it back.
Yeah.
I think that was Path of Exile for sure. That's Sorcery for Erik for sure. And that's even like Here Be Monsters. You talk to these guys, and it's like the kind of game that they want to create is a very focused kind of game, trying to create something in a particular kind of player. It's not looking to be on the target shelves, right? And so that makes you design and think about things differently. You're very focused on the very specific audience that you're wanting to engage with. But the thing that I always come back to is whenever I thought about being done with that Elite Four battle in Pokemon, that to me is when the game was over. And so I have to kind of reckon with the fact that the process of like learning and engaging with, and even again, the internet, I was looking up things, I was learning about it for the first time. That was actually very fun. I was getting more and more towards perfect information. And that allowed me to make very cool choices that I didn't know existed when I was first playing the game. So it's not net negative. It's not like this is something that should never happen. But I knew that once I had that perfect information in Pokemon, and once I had beaten the Elite Four, I would never play it again. Like there's almost no point in doing it because the mystery and discovery of it was so important. It's almost like, it's like playing some kind of puzzle game or legacy game. It's like, once you've solved it and you understand how it works, you see the mechanics of it, then it's like you're just kind of operating a machine that doesn't really have any random outcomes or unknowns. And so the same thing when we were building those decks, remember like 2021 for Flesh and Blood, is like the greatest experiences that we were having with that game was constantly testing and tweaking the Zazzelia and Viscerai decks, trying to get closer and closer to understanding and mastery, rather than looking at the best deck to take to that tournament and just running that to increase our chances of winning. Because the process of discovery and experimentation and mystery and all of that is what we enjoy.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a player type that is that player type. And then there's player types that are looking to aspire to be the best, period, regardless of kind of how they got there. There are player types that want to play specific themes. There's all different kinds of types of players. But I think the early Magic days, based on the games that we were playing and the lack of information that existed during that time, just gave players who loved that part of it so much to engage with. Because every new pack was something to discover, explore, learn about, integrate, test. And so you had so much for those archetypes. And I think over time, that archetype of player gets less and less and less and less and less to engage with. Because now you have every card on release. You have a spoiler season that reveals everything. You have booster packs that are mapped perfectly to how many rares, how many, all this kind of stuff. Buy full, whatever. And then you go and before your first event even, really, unless pre-release is kind of the only way this even exists anymore, you're seeing all the winning deck lists from across the world. And here's the metagame, and here's all the cards that are getting bought because they're counters or because they're playing into. And it's like you can either just not engage at all with that, and it will hit you in the face anywhere you want to be a fan of the game. So like you can try, but it's not terribly effective. Or you can try to find something that's like has a mutual goal. And I think from all my conversations with Erik and Mike and Greg and Sean, and I talked to Jesse from time to time. And Daryl was awesome. Shared some incredibly traditional Maori food with us, which was awesome.
It was awesome.
You just get this sense of like, what can we do to re-engage with these kinds of concepts that made that early period so special? And I think Erik and the team asked that with Path of Exile and Diablo, and I think that is the same process happening with Sorcery and Magic. And you're either here for it or you're not.
Yeah.
Like, because Erik does not care. If you're not here for it, see ya. You know, like truly. And that is why it's so good.
Yeah.
Because he's not moved by I want this to be more of a commercial enterprise.
We need more sets here. We need this. You have to do this. You have to do this, etc. It's like not true at all.
Communicate. Tell us when things are, what are the print run numbers? It's like, no, you get nothing.
Well, and I think that's what's so, I love seeing it. And more, you're just sort of looking for it for everyone we work with, right? Which is like, know exactly what you're trying to do and for who, and then relentlessly do that thing. So in this case, it's a love letter to how it felt to play Magic in the 90s. And if you're not on board for how it felt to play Magic in the 90s, you're in for some surprises.
That's so true. Like that dust store thing that comes up, and it's like...
Yeah, the courts and stuff.
It's like, dude, you would go to a different town and see cards you'd never seen before.
Yeah, I remember there would be promos for Star Wars TCG that are just random, didn't know they existed in tournament legal.
Yeah, just there.
And you show up and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, how do I, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I will say, after spending time with a lot of the Erik Curiosa team in person for that trip, as someone who absolutely loved what it felt like in the 90s to play card games, I've never been more excited or optimistic about the future of Sorcery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
A lot of the conversations are just like, yes, please do the things you're talking about. Please keep going this direction, because I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And I'm just so ready for everything that, we're only getting so much information, getting teased as well. And I actively, it's a line we've had in the sand for a long time with everyone we worked with. We're like, I don't want to be in early or on the play test or on the, I want to keep experiencing these things.
I want to be a player.
Just like everyone else. And it's a fine line when you're orchestrating certain things together or not, or filming content for things that are coming. Anyways, I'm somehow even more excited than I ever was about Sorcery. And it was a great time. Amazing team of people. Very confident in the future of that game.
Thoughts on New Zealand?
Well, first of all, it wasn't 100 plus degrees like in Oklahoma, so a lot of bonus points there.
Massive. It's like 50 degrees, slightly rainy.
Yeah, it's
delightful. It's like Seattle.
It's like favorite weather for me. People were great. Place was great. It was beautiful. Weather was great. Food was great. The salmon was unreal.
That Oklahoma salmon is not the strongest.
It is not the same thing as the New Zealand salmon. Erik Curiosa is awesome.
Their studio was super cool.
Yeah, it was a very we did a lot of content, a lot of conversations with the Erik Curiosa team, and so that was most of what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had the coffee was also really great,
of course,
in general.
Yeah, kind of the Euro styling.
Will definitely go back.
Yeah.
What about you?
It was awesome. It's a shame that we didn't get to the countryside more, to get out of Auckland and actually see, like the Lord of the Rings stuff. And the wilderness out there is absolutely crazy.
I told my wife I wouldn't go to the Lord of the Rings stuff without her. Because she
Nice.
really wants to do it.
I did not say that.
Yeah. You were free to not.
Yeah.
You were free to do those things.
I would have gone, if I could, if we had the time actually to do it. It was hard to convince Shannon. And I was like, no, seriously, we're working. She's like, but you didn't have any days
work,
where you just, it's like, yeah, but we were just working all day.
Yeah.
It is fun work. It's part of working was sitting there with Erik playing with beta Magic cards and jamming games. So yes, that was work.
But that's not the same thing.
But
It's
it
like,
was fun.
we're going to go on a hike in New Zealand
Right.
and then drink at 2 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and just kick back.
That's right. It wasn't quite that. Yeah. And I will say the wine was great.
The wine was great.
It was nighttime wine though. It was after work wine.
There was a little wine shop that had been there forever, and Danielle, who helped us there, was perfect.
Yeah.
Walked in hoping to get some good recommendations that she delivered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good region for that. Yeah, but I thought it was lovely, man. The people were great. Everyone was super friendly. it was a really cool fusion of culture. I think it was nice to be around. We're pretty monolithic culturally, I would say, in Oklahoma, right? Pretty standard kind of trappings. But New Zealand was really cool because you had kind of that Euro style. It felt like being in Europe to me because I've been in a lot of Western Europe countries. But then you also had a very big Asian influence just because of the proximity. And so that was cool too. So there was a lot of like sushi shops and Japanese food there and those kinds of things. And just it kind of shifted the culture in a different direction. And it was really cool to see and engage with all different types of folks there. So I would say I would go back in a heartbeat. I mean, the airplane ride was the hardest, like the worst part of the whole trip, of course.
Yeah, and that
was mainly Pokemon.
It was mainly Pokemon. It was not bad.
That was not terrible.
It is kind of this weird like state you get in after 10 hours or so, mentally and physically. But I would do. It was worth it. I would say that. So if you think about going to New Zealand, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. And yeah, so I see there's been some questions about like, Erik, what sorts are going to do release wise, Frostmane's Lavamancer, et cetera, et cetera. We're not going to say anything about that, obviously, because that's not something you talk about publicly.
That's their business.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it when it is talk aboutable.
We'll talk about it when they talk about it.
But I will say, let me see, August, September, October table time episodes are coming for you.
Yeah, dude.
Like this sequence of things that is about to start of games is, I think, why we created the format. It's the kind of stuff we've dreamed of making. When we were talking about the format itself, right? You start asking, okay, let's imagine what the coolest or favorite thing we could make in this format is, and these are some of those videos.
Have we talked about the imagination?
Yeah, I think we're talking about
imagination, man. Yeah. What a game. That game is killer, man.
Yeah, so on the menu, we definitely have Hubworld, Imagination, Old School Magic, Old School Flesh and Blood now, and more to come after that. Lord of the Rings TCG, film that.
Yeah.
Sorcery, film that.
Yeah.
And then there's more to come. That is ideally going to be a pipe that starts flowing and doesn't stop.
Yo, that's the hope, isn't it?
And honestly, huge shout out real quick. One, to anyone that has ever bought anything from us, ever.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't do any of this without that. And to get to go to New Zealand and film this content, to get to go to Vegas and film this content, absolute privilege. And then, of course, to all the publishers that we work with and that are playing along with this format. Earthborn and Here Be Monsters before now, but now the rest of the hooligans. And honestly, even the Imagination. We had players reaching out, building decks for us and sending it so we could capture that. This is a huge communal effort, and none of it would be possible without everyone out there. So really, immense gratitude to all of you for making it possible.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care.